Welcome Exiles. This is the Cold Sorceress guide for Path of Exile 2 Dawn of the Hunt. This build focuses on freezing everything in sight with an Ice Nova, then finishing them off with a devastating rain of comets. The character in this gameplay has an investment of around 8 divines, but don't worry. I'll also show you a version of this build that works great with lower tier waystones for just 12 exalted orbs. For tougher enemies, we unleash a powerful 5-spell combo that delivers massive single-target damage. During the Zesht fight I get hit for half of my energy shield, but thanks to fast recovery I'm back at full in no time. Alongside high damage, the build offers strong survivability to handle even the nastiest hits. A leveling setup is not included, but I highly recommend Lexiu's Frostbolt plus Cold Snap guide, also linked in the description. I had no issues clearing the campaign with a similar setup. The gear is the same and the passive tree only changes slightly, so transitioning into this build should be smooth and easy. So let's take a look at how the build works. Link to the path of building is in the description. It includes 2 versions of the build, one designed for low-tier waystones, and the other built for true endgame. In the budget version of the build, the passive tree focuses on critical strike chance and multiplier, spell damage, and cold damage. For defense, we pick up several energy shield nodes. Our ascendancy is Stormweaver. It lets us apply shock to enemies and increases the effect of cold exposure. Combined, this gives a huge damage boost, especially against bosses. In the skills section, we start with Ice Nova. This is our main skill for freezing packs and triggering comets. By default, it casts around your character, but with the astral projection support, we can cast it at range. Ice Nova already has a strong freeze effect, but because of its low base damage, we boost it further with glaciation support. We also use Spell Cascade to increase its area and hit more enemies, especially moving ones, which often get hit multiple times. Cold Snap is used to finish off frozen enemies. In the lower budget version, comets won't trigger as often, so you'll sometimes need to cast it. It also serves as a strong damage source during boss fights. We support Cold Snap with Unleash, allowing us to cast it multiple times in quick succession, great for detonating entire frozen packs. Concentrated Effect and Elemental Focus are used to significantly boost its damage. Frost Bomb is an area spell that applies cold exposure, making enemies more vulnerable to cold damage. It also deals solid damage on its own. We support it with Strip Away to increase the effect of exposure, and with Spell Echo and considered casting to boost its overall damage output. Frost Wall adds extra damage during boss fights, but only detonates when it's broken by damage. To make the most of it, we use Fortress support for more frequent detonations, Conduction to increase shock chance, and Ingenuity to lower its cooldown. Hypothermia is a curse that reduces enemies' cold resistance. It also has the highest mana cost in our setup, which helps fuel Sigil of Power during boss fights. We support it with Heightened Curse to reduce resistance even further, Focused Curse for faster placement, and Cursed Ground so it's applied before the boss becomes vulnerable. Cast on Freeze lets us trigger Comet whenever we freeze a large group of enemies or a boss, dealing massive damage. We support it with Energy Retention and Impetus to make it trigger more reliably and more often. Arctic Armor strikes back at enemies who hit you, dealing a huge chunk of damage. Most of the time, it also freezes them, so if something's still moving, it won't be for long. We link it with Clarity to improve mana regeneration. Sigil of Power is available through a chiming staff equipped in our second weapon set. It creates a large zone that increases your spell damage based on how much mana you spend while standing inside it. You can quickly build up stacks by spamming Hypothermia inside the sigil. We support it with increased duration to help maintain max stacks more easily. The bossing combo starts with casting Sigil of Power. Next, we spam Hypothermia and use mana flasks to quickly charge it up. Once that's done, we cast Frost Bomb to apply cold exposure and set up a delayed hit that will also detonate all frost walls, which we place at the very end of the sequence. After freezing the enemy, we repeat Frost Bomb and Frost Wall, then follow up with Cold Snap to unfreeze them and deal another burst of damage. Now let's talk about gear. For armor, we focus on energy shield, life, mana, and resistances. On rings, look for life, mana, and resistances. For the belt, the best option is a utility belt that provides instant flask recovery. An additional charm slot lets us become immune to stun and freeze. After that, prioritize life, mana, and resistances. The amulet should have plus levels to all spell skills. A bonus to critical strike multiplier is another strong offensive stat. For the focus, look for plus levels to all spell skills, cold damage, or general spell damage. The wand should have plus levels to all cold spell skills and gain extra damage as cold damage. Other useful modifiers for your damage gear include increased critical strike chance for spells, maximum mana, and mana regeneration rate. For duels, go for mana on kill and any other helpful stats, like increased cold damage. Let's take a look at how the budget version performs in a real encounter. This setup uses lower tier waist domes and cheaper gear, but still delivers strong and reliable performance. As you can see, we're clearing packs with ease, and even though we're not using the full high-end setup, the build still freezes everything solid and keeps us safe. Rare enemies might take a bit more effort. In those cases, we can throw in a frost bomb, cold snap, or frost wall to finish them off quickly. There's a boss on this map, and you'll see he goes down instantly. Now let's talk about the endgame setup. It's still far from the build's full potential, but this is my current version at around 8 divines. Just keep in mind that prices may have changed since recording. On the passive tree, we now invest more heavily into energy shield and take chaos inoculation to become completely immune to chaos damage and bleeding. To offset the downsides of energy shield, we take ailment and stun threshold nodes, as well as the Eternal Youth Keystone, which helps us recover ES instantly. Our final ascendancy node is Arcane Surge for more cast speed and mana regeneration. We also drop all the critical damage nodes because we're using Malagaro's Virtuosity, the most expensive piece of gear in this build, currently around 3 divines. The rest of the gear stays mostly the same, except we no longer need life rolls and we aim for higher stats overall. For duels, I went with mana on kill, increased area of effect, and increased energy gain, all helping us keep that rain of comets going. As for the skills, Ice Nova is now supported by Ambush for a guaranteed crit on first hit, just make sure your crit chance is around 50%. Cold Snap gets Arcane Tempo for faster casting. Frost Bomb is now boosted with Cold Mastery for even more damage. And finally, Comet now triggers more often through Cast on Freeze, and since the mana cost goes up with gem levels, we support it with Inspiration to help manage that. That's it for the full build guide. Hope you found it helpful or at least inspiring. If you're planning to play a cold-based sorceress, this setup can carry you all the way from campaign to the endgame. And now, here's a short showcase of how the build performs with the current gear in tougher content. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the gameplay.